Well, Greg Edwards will be retiring from his latest position as band instructor at Westwood Collegiate in the coming days, but he won't be going away without a bang. His 3-decade career of shaping lives through music will be celebrated this weekend at the Centennial Concert Hall. Many of the students that he has taught over the years will be joining forces in an alumni gala performance, and all for a very good cause. Absolutely. That celebration taking place this coming Sunday, but ahead of that, Greg Edwards joins us in the Classic 107 studios. Nice to see you.
Nolan, it's great to be here.
This is so exciting. So, is there a calendar on your wall that's counting down the days, or is this a thing that you're dreading, the actual final leaving of the classroom?
It's such an odd experience to kind of get to that point where you're like going to be at the end of something, and I am so busy right now with the end of the year as it normally would be. Add on this really funky gala that we're doing, and boy, oh boy, it's like I'm just really at peace with the decision. I think I'm not, never been a countdown kind of guy. I'm really love what I did, or I should say, I really love what I do.
Yes, doing.
Doing, and music has been such a great part of my life.
And that stretches all the way back in the St. James-Assiniboia School Division, all the way back into the 90s when you were beginning your time at Silver Heights. I understand. What were your first sort of impressions of a life as a music and as a band instructor?
Oh, there's a crazy story here, and you're welcome to edit this if there's time issues. But man,
you're live, baby. You're not getting it.
I think it's just a brilliant little idea. So I go to the Nationals in 1988 from I was at Penn High in Penticton, British Columbia. And I got some time to wander around, and it was in Calgary. And this was back when it was live and it was on TV and stuff. And I wandered in to watch this band play, and I'm like, there's no way those are high school kids. They're so good. Like, it was so amazing. Yeah. And this is a true story. It was Silver Heights' senior jazz band.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, why couldn't I be in a program like that? Fast forward 6 years, I am student teaching with Jim McKay, the fabulous Jim McKay at Silver Heights, and the rest is history. I was hooked. He was so gracious to me and brought me in, and I stand on his shoulders today.
What an amazing story of like the city's musical legacy that you then gets to tap into when you're moving through this program. And now obviously at some point you were one taking over the reins in some degree. What sorts of things do you think that you were influenced by being in this city's musical community, in Manitoba's musical community, that maybe you wouldn't have gotten if you had stayed in Penticton or elsewhere in BC?
So I my story is I went down and I got accepted to a place called Douglas College in New Westminster, which is got a really cool performing arts program. There's lots of it's crazy. There's Red Seal carpenters working on trying to get production stuff ready for movies and stuff like that. So we would do a musical once a semester, and then an opera the second semester, or a big play or something. And like these people would build massive sets and all that kind of stuff. And so I had lots of really great music in Vancouver around me. And I was actually supposed to go to UBC. I auditioned for the famous Marty Barenbaum there, and he really liked me, and everything was great, and I was all set to do that. And then my teacher at the time, a guy named Dr. Ed Bach, was doing a sabbatical replacement for the wonderful trumpet teacher at Brandon University, Alan Ennis. And we all, I think, know his son, James, pretty well.
Yeah, but he gets around.
He gets around, yeah. Juno or 5, Grammy. So anyways, he said, you should come with me to this place called Brandon, Manitoba. It's really great. They got a new music school. It was just built, I think it was 84. And I'm supposed to go to UBC. And I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of single at the time, and I really loved him as a teacher. So I made this crazy trek in my car, and I drove 26 hours almost straight to Brandon, Manitoba, to the music building.
Wow.
And I fell in love. Wow. This is back in the day when you shoot camera and rolls of film.
Sure.
I took a 36 was a big roll of film, and I took a 36 roll of nothing.
Wow.
These prairies were like, what is this? It's so beautiful.
A
so lovely.
A wide open canvas for you to work on.
Yeah, and so then I arrived here in Manitoba, and it was like, what an art scene. And it was in Vancouver, it was always a 3-hour train ride or bus ride to get to the gig. Yeah. Here there was everywhere. It was just, oh wow. And the opportunities, like you say, are just crazy cool.
I can't imagine that you're not thinking back on that 36 millimeter film and trying to imagine and maybe even looking back on those images specifically as you are going through these next couple of days ahead of retirement. What are you maybe holding with some fondness as you reflect on your career in these times? What are some of the memories that are standing out for you in this time?
Some of my first memories are So maybe your listeners don't know, but Ron Paley used to rehearse at Silver Heights.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm a new guy in town, and I've come from as we know from BC, as we just said. So I wasn't really familiar with all these people in the world. And I was working in the band room at Silver one night, working on some stuff, and this presence was behind me, and I kind of turned, and there's this guy going, "Hey, Greg, we kind of missing a trumpet player tonight. Would you mind sitting in and playing a little bit with us?" And I was like, sure. I had no idea who Ron Paley was. I had no idea who was going on. And so I go and I sit in, and oh my word, I just fresh out of university, and who was on lead? Mo, I think, was on lead at that time. The great Frank Burke playing second. And I'm playing, I think it was over on the third trumpet, I'm playing away, and I kind of stumbled a little bit because I was like, who are you people? Frank Burke took 2 choruses, and I was like, this is Clark Terry. Like, who is this guy? It was crazy. All these famous people in that band. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that was one of the first memories I hold dear.
Wow.
I was about, I don't know, maybe 25 or something like that. I was
what a wonderful
just stumbled into my lap. You know?
Inspiration from a different name. If you're talking about the different musical educators that were making up your early years, but then also to think about the legendary performers who have made up this city's musical fabric for so much time. So many of the students that have been a part of your fabric as well, to come back to this concert, this gala concert, this alumni concert taking place this weekend, are going to be a part of this memory and this celebration of your career. What does that mean to you to see so many of these people from your teaching tenure come back to support you and to celebrate you?
It's honestly a bit wacky. It's crazy. The fact that people would fly in for this from all over the place. I have a student flying in from Japan to come and play for us this weekend. And it's just crazy when you think about the things people are doing. And, a lot of my former students have gone on to quite some fame. And it's interesting that everybody I talked to said yes. I think it's a Winnipeg thing too. They're all like, yeah, I see my parents once a year. They still live in Westwood. People haven't left their homes. So people are coming in, and we've got some really fantastic performers from. We have one of the percussionists from the National Symphony Orchestra is coming out to play for us. You and I have. Talked a little bit about the fabulous Cameron Dewar, who's coming into town.
Yes.
She's going to be doing some singing with the jazz band and also playing some alto with the concert band.
Wonderful.
And jazz. So it's just really neat to see this all come back full circle to celebrate and just make music together one more time.
Totally. Now, somebody is going, as you stood on the shoulders of the person who came before you in the St. James-Assiniboia School Division, there's going to be somebody who's taking over next year as the instructor at Westwood. What would your biggest hope be for them as they get their roots established in that musical community?
It's neat. The person that's succeeding me is a wonderful middle school band director in our division and quite famous in her own right. So I'm very blessed and very lucky to have someone coming in with an amazing set of chops, and I know she's going to do really, really well. And so I'm hesitant to offer anything. I mean, this is a person with a ton of skill. So, I think Westwood's got a long-standing tradition of excellence, and by any metric, is what we might refer to as a phrase coined by Chelsea Hebert, the past executive director of the Manitoba Band Association and involved in Sistema. Yeah. She called us a legacy program. She said, just year after year after year, we've been able to do something really cool at Westwood, and I hadn't thought of it that way, and I really appreciated her saying that. It's like, oh, this is kind of neat, implying in some way that it might live on, a little bit. In
the spirit of that sort of legacy program idea, we are also, on the flip side of that coin, confronted by an age where music education funding for the arts is having a bit of a reckoning moment, and we are having this debate sort of once again. It comes around every once in a while about the value of music education in this in our society. As you reflect and you've seen these sorts of debates sort of come and go in your time, and you've seen the impact that this has on the students to a point where they're coming in from Japan and wherever else to come and celebrate you and that legacy this weekend. What sorts of advice are you offering to these sort of, maybe not even just to your successor, but maybe to the next stream of music educators about the best ways to weather that sort of a storm and ensure that there is that music education and everything that it comes with it?
Yeah, the first thing obviously is don't give up. There's a lot of adversity that comes with people that are in the arts. It doesn't matter which particular art. There's a little bit of a struggle sometimes to get recognized as something of value. We tend to default to academics as being sort of the most important thing in our education system. But I often remind people that the original Olympics included music.
Yeah.
There's something we've known for a long time. Plato, Socrates, they all knew, but they didn't have PET scanners. And now we have PET scanners. And we know when people play an instrument, it excites their brain in a way that nothing, and I repeat, nothing else does. We have scientific data that's irrefutable. So I would like to think in this modern era, we're going to get better and better and better. I quote Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton travels the world as a president, and he says, I could always tell what kind of day I was going to have in these countries I was going to by how much art I saw from when I got off the plane to when I arrived to wherever I was going to be. That was a developed culture. That was a culture this was going to be a really neat trip for him. And he said, the less art I saw, the less art I was exposed to. He said, this is a place that's struggling. And I was like, that resonated with me.
Another place that your sort of gala concert is supporting is another place of scientific research. You're speaking about PET scanners, and now we're hopefully raising money for research of a different kind for Cancer Care Manitoba in this gala concert. Maybe you can speak a bit as to why this is something that you were aiming to support with this concert.
Well, first, it's really hard pressed to find someone who doesn't have a story about being affected by cancer. Yeah, it's just that simple. Cancer does not discriminate. It's not ethnically based. It's not socioeconomic. You could be a Bill Gates and you still can't fight that fight. There is no amount of money that's going to solve that problem if it comes your way. I've lost a lot of people in my life, students, parents. I had a clinician, a brilliant musician here in the town, Susan Munzer, who passed in August. Her husband, Dan, was a trumpet player in the symphony for years. And it seemed like the thing, like if I was going to use and I mean, for your listeners, I have a very small slice of fame. It's very, very localized.
Yeah.
I was like, if we're going to do this concert, let's do it for a reason. Let's just try and create some dollars towards something of value. And cancer can be beaten. The whole idea that we could beat polio was touted as a ridiculous idea at one time, and now it's basically eradicated. Measles, mumps, cancer is going to be the next. It's got to be. So we just got to throw money at it, and if this little drop in the bucket can help, I certainly hope that we can maybe turn the tides.
Yeah. As you contemplate these final days of your career, what does the next musical chapter hold for Greg Edwards? Is it going to be more sitting in on sessions like you did all those years ago at Silver Heights with Ron Paley and his group?
I'm a bit of a tigger, so sitting still isn't necessarily in my future, but I've been asked by a lot of people over the years to come and work with their bands. I've been very blessed to be all over the place. I did the Northern Manitoba Jazz Festival for, about 11 years in a row. Worked clinicked all over the place and done some adjudication. And everybody's like, when are you retiring? we want you here. So I'm going out to do a summer. I'm doing a band camp, a September band camp for Vince Massey and Brandon coming up, and then I'll be out at the Alberta Band Festival. I'm doing Kelowna's Band Festival in April.
Wow.
So I'll start doing more of that kind of stuff and sort of using the little bit of knowledge that I have that's very unique and going out and hopefully helping more and more students just get better and better and better at making music.
Wow. The Greg Edwards Alumni Gala taking place this Sunday, June the 22nd at 2 o'clock. Tickets are available at centennialconcerthall.com. We will be linking to those in just a little while on our website as well, classic107.com, and on the Classic 107 app. Greg Edwards, It's been such a joy having you
you.
here in our Classic 107 studios today. And now that we know you've got a little bit of free time, at least swing on by anytime.
Nolan, if I want to add one last thing.
By all means.
Due to corporate sponsorship, those tickets that are $25, all proceeds are going straight to cancer care.
Amazing.
So we don't have any cost to cover. So that's the cool part about this concert. So for $25 a ticket, and you have a great 2.5-hour show.
Awesome. That is fantastic to hear. All the best for Sunday's concert.
Thank
And
you so
congratulations on your career,
Thank
sir.
you very much.